I just want to say, you guys are doing a great thing. It's such an uncomfortable topic to talk about, especially for a guy, young guys in their early 20s. And, I'm glad that, I could tune in and, listen to you guys.
Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Hey guys, welcome to the broadcast. 888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. It's great to be here. We usually say about 3-ish, and we made it.
I need to put that in the announcements from now on.
I don't know why you don't.
PST.
I don't know why you don't.
Ish.
Yeah.
EST and maybe before 11 GMT.
It should be like 3-ish, between 3 and 3:30 PST.
And regular watchers of the show, they know this.
Yeah, of course.
They know this. It's all good.
I didn't promote the show anywhere tonight.
It's not that we're like trying to be late. It's just today it's all my fault. I had a moving homes emergency, so had to deal with it. It's all good.
Holmes, like
anyway,
your brother, like what's up, Holmes? Or
yes,
okay,
yes, like my homie, home style.
I see. Got some flyaways.
FSK, can you do a video walkthrough of your black shirt wardrobe? Sure, you're on.
Guys, phone number, 888-659-3727. We are live. This is the Hair Loss Show. It's great to be here, kind of. No,
it is.
It's always great to be here. The fact that I wake up in the morning in, like, moderate pain, it's I'm doing all right.
It means you're alive.
Right. Listen, I was talking to a young guy today that is, getting involved in the hair loss world. And, he's I have to say that he's like 25 years old. His parents did a really good job with this kid.
There's hope?
It's rare. It's rare. Because most kids that I speak to around that age, they can't communicate on the phone. It can't be done. So this kid is articulate. He's thoughtful. He's super smart. He's engaging. There's a little bit of shyness there, I could tell, where he's not. He's the type of kid who would normally, like, if you just saw him, you'd be like, he's a good-looking kid. He probably has the world by the balls. All that stuff. He doesn't come across that way. And I'm just going to say that I find it extremely refreshing. Until he disappoints me, of course. But so far, so good.
Well, you do like the shiny things in life, so, easily impressed.
Yeah.
Just saying.
No.
Just saying.
Good kid. Good kid. Phone number is 888-659-3727. How's my hair, Joe?
Outstanding. Thank you very much.
We got some calls on the line. I haven't promoted the show at all today, which I probably should while I am actually doing this. But we can just take the first call and see what's going on and see if anybody has any interesting stuff to talk about. Let's see who this is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from? Hey, caller. I'm going to give you a second in case you have cold feet or if you're having a problem with your connection. All right. Call back, 888-659-3727. We have phone lines open, of course. We are here to answer your questions, concerns, anything about hair loss. I posted an outtake today. I found it funny. I was doing a video, on PP405, essentially the truth. Tremendous amount of hype out there. All the, yeah.
You said PP.
Essentially the truth. It's an old reference now. I think it's coming back though.
It is. Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
I have to clear my throat, man. So I get a frog in my throat. I'm like, throat cancer.
It's not a tumor. It's not a tumor.
It's that one night 12 years ago. Anyway, You mature guys would understand what that is. What was I saying, Joe? What was I saying? Oh, PP405. So a lot of hype.
Yes.
I kind of wanted to tell the truth about what's happening. Why?
I just think it's funny. You think there's mature guys in the audience. Just saying.
Oh, maybe.
Just had to throw that out there.
Well, there's some old guys.
Oh, old guys. I
Yeah.
said mature guys.
Yeah, I did, but there are some old guys. And I just wanted to do a quick video, essentially providing people with why this actually may be something to take seriously, but also why it's something you shouldn't wait for. Because if you're losing your hair right now, you're still effed. You gotta use what we have today to treat your hair loss. So hopefully, if something like this actually does come to market, you could really benefit from it. But it's also something that's not going to keep your hair growing forever. It's something that potentially can initiate more hair growth, grow hair where follicles seem to be completely dormant, which is great. But eventually those follicles will succumb to your genetic predisposition to lose them. So anyway, I start this thing off, and I'm doing the video without any pants on, like I do a lot behind this desk. And for whatever reason, I'm trying to be all serious in front of the camera and announce like a reporter about the truth about PP405. And I say, okay, and I say something about that. I say, I'm Spencer Kobren, and I'm not wearing pants. And it cracked me up. So I decided just to post that 6-second blooper.
For those that don't know why that's funny, it's
Chevy Chase.
It comes from the 70s.
Yeah.
Chevy Chase, the original SNL late weekend update. I'm Chevy Chase, and I'm not wearing any pants.
Yeah.
That was his line. So.
And that's how I felt when I was saying it. I kind of felt like, I'm a reporter here who's not wearing any pants. Like,
yeah, that's
weekend
great.
update. So it cracked me up.
Great.
I figured, let me see if I could put that out there and get a couple of laughs. Nothing. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, people seem to like it. But it's a real risk on social media because, A, you're dealing with a much younger crowd. You don't know if they're going to completely understand your humor. And then there's all these Indian cats who are like, but what's the solution?
Great. You're half naked.
Yeah.
How do I prevent hair fall?
Yeah.
And then they do this.
And then you have the women who are like, you should stand up. And specs.
And Spencer's like, I am standing up.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I did say that I should do that for the post-finasteride syndrome guys who were like, very upset that we're doing okay on the drug, which I understand.
Yeah.
Sure, that's your cue to speak. This is a radio show.
I'm sorry. I got distracted by a comment. Sorry, what'd you say?
What was the comment?
Precocious Curmudgeon says, I bought a capless. Unfortunately, it is not endorsed by the American Hair Loss Association.
That is true.
That is true.
I will say that they initiated
trash it.
They initiated an application to be a trusted content creator, and they never followed through with the application after I contacted them.
You mean a trusted brand?
I'm sorry, yes, a trusted brand. Thank you.
Yeah,
for
thank
correcting
you.
me.
Yes.
And it was interesting because they took the time to fill out the bulk of the application, but I think maybe they just felt, and I could be wrong, so contact me if I'm incorrect, Capillas. Maybe they just thought, I'm just going to take their money? And there was no follow through. This was like the first stage. Like, A, we want to see all of your product certification. We want to see exactly, where the product is being manufactured, where you're getting your diodes, what percentage of the diodes that you get from the manufacturer are you actually using, or you have to throw in the garbage. How are you batch testing, and a whole bunch of other real technical questions. And they provided all very reasonable responses. They attached all of their documentation, And I'm like, okay, this is impressive. This is good. This is a good start. Now we need to actually talk about some more stuff, including how they're marketing to the consumer, how they're willing to construct their marketing. Because the bottom line is, if they're going to be a part of what we do, they have to market truthfully to the consumer. Are you saying things like this is a medical grade laser, stuff like that, which I don't even know if they are or they aren't. Mm-hmm. This guy just, we couldn't figure out that second meeting. And then finally I'm just like, yeah, you know what? There are other people who really are interested in being a part of what we do and understand why I do it the way that I do it. And I essentially, I don't take checks. I just don't take checks. And that was it. So to answer the person in the chat, I don't know if it seems as though they are manufacturing a good product for what it is. But at this point, I can't recommend spending $4,000 or $2,000 for one of these caps when you can get something much less expensive. And frankly, we're not even sure at this point if you need so many diodes. There's a school of thought, and also some of the real clinical studies show that 80 diodes actually, with the right power, may actually be enough. And more diodes may actually potentially cause some damage. Now, we don't know if that's the case. So it may take me another 6 months to figure this out before we can have a trusted brand.
It might overload the mitochondria.
That sounds very smart, and something that one of these guys,
really
one of these doctors would say, but I really don't know. But my hope is that whoever we decide to go with, we can go with one of their less expensive versions.
Yes.
Because
we know the truth.
Because if that's enough, then that's enough. Why spend $4,000 on something or $2,500 on something when you could potentially spend, $900 or $700?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's how I feel about it.
I like that.
That's all I got to say about that.
That's all I got to say about that.
All right, guys. Well, listen, we started late and we're not getting any calls. So I'm going to go and I think I'm going to get drunk tonight. It's the weekend. It's Labor Day.
You're that upset that there's no calls right now. You're just going to go get drunk.
Oh, I'm not upset at all. I'm actually relieved.
I'm actually pretty upset. So I'm going to get drunk right now.
All right. So what were you going to talk about?
Well, I wanted to talk about something that has been on my mind for the past 10 years since I've been out on my own.
Now is not the time. Now is not the time to talk about your transition, brother.
Well, I am transitioning from someone who.
Dude, you're a good-looking dude, but you would be one ugly woman.
Yes, I would. Yes, I would. Even more, I'd actually look better with my beard as a woman. Just saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is something you and I have talked about this for a while. You know how I've been wrestling with this, and ever since I got into the position that I created, I don't even know what I call saying I'm independent. What does that even mean? Independent of what? Any specific clinic? Yeah, I guess so, but it doesn't say what I do. It doesn't inform anyone. Well, Joe Tillman went independent. Well, good for him. What the fuck does that mean?
Well, to some people, it
is,
means that you are going to be stiff competition, and they're going to try to destroy your life and your potential career.
Well, yeah, there is that. They can't go after the clinic, so they got to go after the guy.
Right.
So over the years, since I've been doing what I've been doing, which is trying to educate you guys and gals through, this YouTube channel where you might be watching the show. If you're not watching on YouTube right now, it's Hair Transplant Channel on YouTube, youtube.com/the Hair Transplant Channel. I've been putting out a series. I've not done it in a while, but I have hair transplant class where I've got a series of videos where I educate you guys on usually at least mid-level complicated subject matter on up to higher level complicated subject matter. I haven't really dabbled in the really easy stuff, which I need to do. Apparently, I recognized this a while ago. Just haven't had time to manifest that aspect of the series. But one thing I've noticed for many years now is the growing pool of individuals that are offering online consultations. And what I mean by that are, video consultations, Skype consultations. Back in the day, now they're Zoom consultations.
The man who's helping to make.
Exactly.
Sorry about that.
And the problem with these guys is every single one of them are no different than you. They're patients. They went and had a surgery. It may have been a bad surgery. God bless them. It may have been a great surgery. If it was a bad surgery, maybe they got a repair job. That's awesome. But they've started offering their persons as a consultant for you, the lay public, and they're really not much different than you are.
Oh, absolutely.
As far as their okay, you can stop it now. As far as their own education, their own experience, and they're charging you money for it. And this has really bothered me because I've gotten reports from people over the years that have had these consultations, and they're really not much of anything. They're not much more than what you would get. Actually, they're no better than what you would get if you go to a forum or to Reddit or what have you. And I don't blame these people for charging money for their time. Everyone's entitled to charge money for their time. But what I've always had a problem with is these people are giving medical consultations and then trying to direct you to the clinic of their choice, I assume because of some sort of kickback, some sort of commission, what have you. So they're charging you on the front end and they're charging the clinic on the back end to make their money. And I know this is what's going on. Maybe not with every one of these guys that are charging, but a good percentage of them. So, I'm seeing this growing. And so I've made the decision to offer up my time for a fee, utilizing and offering my actual clinical experience, having worked in clinics for many years, having worked with doctors for many years, understanding how they look at surgical options for their patients, being trained by these doctors in what they feel is necessary to look at, utilizing my own experience, repair patient and being fixed and all that good stuff. So in the coming weeks, I'm going to be putting together a new website where you can upload your information and schedule a full hour with me for not a consultation. I'm not going to be a hair transplant consultant. I'm a hair restoration strategist, helping you to strategize for your future, whether it includes surgery or not surgery, but help you to figure out what the best idea or the best route is for you for not just the short term, but the long term. So you are now looking at a hair restoration strategist that can be hired by the hour, 1 hour. It won't be multiple hours. The details of this are still being figured out, but it's been a long time coming. 10 years I've been thinking about doing this because I really did not like being a hair transplant consultant by the time I left the industry as working for clinics. But I've decided to make this announcement today, and there'll be more information coming out over the next few weeks. May not be a big deal to some people, and that's fine. I'm not making this announcement as if it is a big deal rocking the industry. It's a big deal to me because I didn't want to do this. I still don't want to do it. But in order to have my time, which I'm always being asked for my time, I am going to charge for it, and it's not going to be cheap. And that's designed with a purpose so that if you do get an hour of my time, you will pay attention. Because if not, it's a lot of money that you're wasting. And most people will pay attention. So That's my announcement. Here we go.
First of all,
Thank you.
I didn't mean I was trying to find some sound effects, not to screw you up. And I saw how frustrated you got. I had my sound up on my 360, and you're like, "That's enough, Spencer."
I'm trying to formulate what the fuck I'm saying because I didn't rehearse this.
You're scolding me on my own
motherfucker.
You're scolding me on my own fucking show.
It's like, Jesus Christ, you a bad motherfucker.
Getting all
Anyway.
pissy. I'm just trying to figure this shit out here.
Anyway, so
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. All right.
No, listen. I think that it's important that people have access to people who could really provide them with, invaluable, honest, legitimate information. There's only so much we can do, and honestly, I don't have the time for it. And I have so many people now who contact me through Instagram, and I don't mean like 1 or 2 times a week, every day.
Oh,
Someone wants to
at least,
and they want to pay for my time to consult with them. And these are usually, you can see the younger guys, and I'd just be like, look, I can't do this for $100 an hour or whatever it is. And then there are not that that's not good money, but I would earn more money if I was actually working doing something else. So
exactly.
if I'm choosing not to work and day drink or whatever, play some hoops, there's a reason for that, So I think it's really important. Look, there's a guy, and he's been very public about things, and he just went down to his name is Harris. He's a good kid. He's a young guy. He's like 24.
Good guy.
24 years old.
Yeah.
And it's funny about Harris, not funny, but he's a very good-looking dude. Like, if he wanted to, he could shave his head.
Handsome kid.
He could shave his head and really look great. But he's in this now. And he decided to have a hair transplant based on one of these consultations from one of these experts online. And this is a naive kid. And I'm not saying that this particular expert was doing anything nefarious. I just don't think that this person knows. The problem is it's become the blind leading the blind in this field.
Yeah.
In the online world.
He's a classic classic example of why I am doing what I'm doing. And I don't purport to, present myself as the savior of, like, I'll be able to help everyone. In fact, I'll be able to help very few people because I don't expect a lot of people to pitch for the fee that I'm going to be asking. But the excuse is not, oh, I couldn't talk to Joe, he wouldn't talk to me. It has to be something else because I will talk to you. It's just, it's going to cost you.
Well, the way that I feel about it is if a guy is not willing to pay for a legitimate consultation, whether it's, and I know you're a strategist now, but whether it's going to see a doctor or really working with a real expert who is not out there trying to make a commission off their sales, then they're not ready to have a hair transplant. That should be factored into their equation. So they can do they can do several things. They could pay for direct consultations with physicians and travel and put that into the equation. Or they can pay somebody like you to help them along the way and give them completely objective advice and put that in their equation.
The problem is that what I'm going to be charging would probably be half the fee of what some of these guys are paying for their surgery if they're going to, some of these better known hair mills that charge next to nothing. So they won't pitch. And I fully expect that to be the case where I won't be hearing from these guys. But it will be the guys that, are willing to pay more money to go to a better clinic to get, it doesn't necessarily mean better outcome, but that's the idea when you're paying more than, a grand for a hair transplant out of India or Brazil or Turkey or wherever, Tijuana. So it is going to be something that will not be embraced by the masses because it's like, my surgery doesn't cost much more than this. Why, I can't afford the surgery very easily, so I can't afford this. And I understand that.
Sorry, Joe. Hold on. Guys, hold on. We'll take your calls in a second. Don't hang up.
So we'll see how this works out. Like it's something I'm going to embrace 100%. I'm creating the website. I have the domain already set up. I'm trying to figure out some of the finer details as far as follow up and any sort of support after the fact. I'm not sure how that'll work out. It won't be a lot. I'm not going to be sitting here waiting to get emails and phone calls from people to say how'd it go. Yeah, that's not the way it's going to work.
Well, you know what I was doing.
We'll see though.
As things grow on social media, I was considering maybe getting the good guys who are doing this under kind of like our AHLA umbrella. But that's a pain in the ass too, because then it's kind of like, well, what happens if somebody tells somebody to go to the wrong guy accidentally? Or I don't want to hear any shit. So you're on your own, brother.
Fully expected. That's fine. Yes.
No, but obviously you're a trusted content creator, and you are the co-host of the Ball of Truth. So that's all part of your credentials, obviously. Besides your,
so you're still going to catch shit. I listened to your guy Tillman. Anyway.
Well, listen. I've been catching shit about you guys for years. What do you think? I'm dragged into these conversations all the time online. Spencer Stevenson does something, it's my fault. You do something, it's my fault. And you guys aren't doing anything. It's all perceived. Let's take a call. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, guys. Matt from LA. How's it going?
Matt, man, how you doing this week?
I'm good. I promise I won't be so depressed this week.
Dude. You know what? If you're depressed, it's fine. What are you going to do? It makes me feel better about my life. I'm just kidding, brother.
I just wanted to check in really quick. It's been a real pain to get a brand name. Basically, it's like you get the prescription and they still fill it as generic. I got past that. But my question is about Propecia versus Proscar. Does it matter at all? Would you choose either one if you're going back to brand name?
The only difference is it's going to be less expensive for you in the long run to use Proscar. But you do have to either cut the pills or do like an intermittent therapy type of thing. But just for the listeners who are wondering why it was difficult for you, even though you got the prescription and you may have asked for brand name, unless the physician fills it out, brand name only, or whatever the code is going to be in your part of the country. Here in California, I think you can say brand name only. You're not going to get brand name.
Yeah.
Every pharmacist is going to fill it as a generic and say,
it's a generic.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing. And also, when they try to run it through insurance, because that's what they think they're going to do initially, they think they're making it easier for you. So anyway, so you figured that out, obviously, Matt.
Yeah, it's a bit of a pain, but it's doable. But yeah, I just want to make sure. I've seen other things, just people having bad things going from Propecia to Proscar. And I went on the generic 5 milligram way back because Spencer, you had mentioned, higher dosages might help. And I think you took that back after a little while. But
I never took anything back. What did I say? What do you think I said, or what did I say?
What?
That maybe higher dosages might help if you top out at a certain level.
Oh, I never took that back.
Oh, Finasteride.
I'm totally a believer, and again, this is not medical advice. I'm totally a huge believer that this is a dose-dependent medication. Mm-hmm. And for 100%. many years, no doctor would admit that. I'm also a believer that dose, especially at the very beginning for a lot of guys, doesn't have to be the full 1 milligram a day. Mm-hmm. And I'm also a believer, and now it's been shown and it's being talked about in the medical community, that even though this leaves your body in about, it has a half-life of about 6 to 8 hours, you're suppressing your DHT for a minimum, the full effect, the full suppression, for a minimum of 48 hours, maybe even longer. And then it starts to creep up incrementally. So you don't need to dose every day for most people, at least initially. But I think if you plateau, it could be a reason that your body is kind of adjusted to it and that, it may be dose dependent. So that's why I'm a fan of starting at the lowest dose possible, not necessarily the normally prescribed dose, which is a 1 milligram dose for hair loss.
It's frustrating to think that if I just stayed on the 1 milligram Propecia brand, like way back, like I'd have better results than at some point going over to finasteride and then
But you're not even sure. What happens if you, whatever, it was a different day and you're like, okay, I'm going to pick up my 1 milligram brand name at the pharmacy, and you go there and you get hit by a car. That could happen too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, you really have no idea what would have happened. But yes, I certainly understand it. And listen, it's very possible that you could rebound. I've seen it. I really have seen it before. I am not just trying to make you feel better.
Cool. Well,
you know,
I
mean, Joe's just trying to make you feel better, but I'm not. I'm here just to tell you the truth.
That's what I get paid for.
Yeah.
Today I returned some Nazoral because I was scared to try the 1%.
Yeah, that's heavy, man. How old are you now?
46.
Okay. I mean, listen, you're still young, and listen, I just upped my dosage a few months ago, or, you know, I titrated up. I'm taking basically 2 5 milligram pills a week, in essence, almost a week, every 7-8 days. I have some retrograde alopecia. I have noticed, I do think things have improved to some degree, believe it or not, even at my age. Part of me thinks that my 80-year-old barber may not have gone as crazy as I thought with the thinning shears and back this time. So I'm not seeing as much scalp, but I'm hoping that's not the case. And I'm hoping that it's actually the finasteride that's helping me out. So I do think it's possible. I've seen it. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times over the years. And that's why now doctors are starting to talk about this stuff. I don't know why they didn't before. They had no incentive not to. But I think there's just a dogma that starts to happen in medicine. And they just kind of follow the sheet like sheep. They follow the leader, and they just keep repeating the same bullshit.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
way too common.
So I wish you the best of luck, brother. You know, I mean, I understand. Look, anything you add to your regimen can cause you to shed more hair loss, to shed more hair. So adding Nizoral, unless you have some sort of inflammatory condition, it's not really a major DHT suppressor. It's not going to be that meaningful for you anyway.
Just felt like I'd be... just sucks to think that there's a miracle out there, like RU or something, but it's like too weird to even try.
Look, I just did a video on RU5.
Weird is a great word.
I did a video on RU58841, which I'm going to probably put online Monday or whatever, Tuesday. And look, here's the truth. There's not a single case, either documented clinically or anecdotally, of anybody who's been on this medication who has saved their hair for the long term. Just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Doesn't exist. We have no idea where this experimental agent or you know, essentially drug is being manufactured. There's so many different companies selling it. Even though you're seeing it on Amazon now. And they give a big warning. Well, this is just for, you know, it's an experimental, whatever. How do they say it, Joe? Not experimental. What's the term they use?
Research purposes.
What was that, Matt?
Research purposes.
It was research purpose. I think there's something else. But anyway, the reality is it's very big in the bodybuilding community. It has been for 30 years. There's not a single bodybuilder on bodybuilder.com, whatever that site is, that has had any long-term success with this. I know that Derek from More Plates, More Dates has discussed it over the years, but he is also, you know, he's a content creator, and he experiments a great deal on himself. And I'm not sure if he's still using it. But in my view, if he is still using it, it's potentially out of fear of losing whatever gains he's made using the oral medication.
Yeah.
And I happen to like that guy a lot. As far as, I mean, he's one of the few influencers out there that really has a strong grasp on all this stuff, and he's able to digest it and then and then share it with his audience in a very lucid way.
Yeah.
Cheer up! It's Friday.
It's Friday. Thank you, guys. I appreciate what you
All
do.
right, go have a drink. You're gonna be all right.
Done.
Okay, take care,
Thanks,
Brett.
guys.
Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Phone number is 888-659-3727. He said he wasn't going to depress us. No, he didn't. He was. Listen, I get it, man. You know, it's every waking moment. I've been dealing with this protracted agony for 40 years. I have ups and downs. I feel very grateful that I've saved the hair that I have, and then I'll do my hair, and I'm like, God, it's just not right, man. I don't even do my hair anymore. I place it. You know, I piece it together and then spray it.
It's a proper sculpture.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Good. That's good.
You know, but I do the best that I can. And you know what? I'm talking to this young guy today, and he's just like, you know, he could be blowing a little smoke up my ass, but he's like, listen, man, your hair looks, for what you've gone through, essentially, for all the years you've been dealing with this, your hair looks great.
For as old as you are?
Yeah. When I am a grandfather, I hope that I have as much hair as you do.
That's good. That's good.
You know? When I'm a man of
I'm nearly washed up.
When I'm a man of your advanced years, very close to being able to apply for Medicare. Yeah. Okay. Like when I go to a doctor, go to a doctor's office. Sorry, go ahead.
When I'm eligible for the Blue Plate special, I hope my hair looks that good.
Yeah. When I go to the doctor's office,
oh God,
and they're like, list your medications, and it's basically just one. The lady, if she doesn't know me, they always come back to me like, you didn't fill this out.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Did you break your pencil lead?
Yeah. I'm like,
did you run out of ink?
I'm not on any medication. And they look at you like you're a freak. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
You're 60.
Now, Mr. Kobren,
You know?
you can tell us we're trained professionals.
It's fine. You could tell us about your Viagra use. That's another thing, man. So there's a kid that's been asking me questions in one of my threads, and he started to use finasteride, topical finasteride, minoxidil, maybe with I think azelaic acid, something else, caffeine, some crazy concoction.
Always the caffeine.
Yeah.
Always caffeine.
But he's saying that he's having long-term adverse side effects, mood issues, depression, brain fog. I'm like, brain fog, and sexual dysfunction. Says that he's completely lost his libido, and he's convinced that it was from the topical. Now, is that possible? Yeah, it's possible. I mean, you do see people complaining about that, and also the FDA did put out a warning because there were enough complaints about Hims and Keeps and all these other topical guys who were selling topicals. But the persistent adverse side effect thing, especially from a topical, it's pretty much of an anomaly, but I'm seeing it more and more. More and more people are concerned about it. And I don't know why I brought this up, but so I'm trying to advise this young person, this kid. Now, one thing is, he also said he wasn't going bald. He was basically doing it as a preventative. He was using this pretty significant, serious medication as a prophylactic, just in case he was going to go bald. So all these kids, I know I brought this up because of the Viagra thing. All these kids, not this kid, I don't know, but all these kids are also on dick pills at like 20 because they could just order them online.
Mm-hmm. It's like, why not?
They have no idea what they're doing to themselves, brother. That is basically those are used. That's a That's a break glass in case of emergency situation. You know?
Well said. Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's
But
like,
how do you break it?
it's like, holy shit, I drank too much and there's this beautiful woman waiting for me. That's when you pop the pill.
That's when you eat your can of spinach.
Yeah.
That's a old Popeye
Anyway.
reference.
But it's interesting because I'm trying to help this guy and I'm talking to him about, you might want to see a physician and you might want to get a sleep study, or at the very least, there are ways to check for nocturnal erections. And he says to me, well, he doesn't get any nocturnal erections because he's lost his libido. I'm like, well, libido and nocturnal erections are completely different things.
Exactly.
Just because you don't have a sex drive doesn't mean that your body isn't producing an erection while you're sleeping that you're unaware of.
Yeah.
So in all of my years, the one thing that I've realized is all these guys that come to me, especially since around 2011, 12, when the Irwig study came out, and I tell them, listen, just do yourself a favor. Wrap a roll of stamps around your junk when you're sleeping. And if the stamps are broken in the morning, that means you're good. And there hasn't been a single person who hasn't come back after that suggestion to say it didn't work. And they all got over their post-finasteride syndrome. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen with this guy. And I'm not saying this isn't real. This isn't a real phenomenon. But I'm saying for whatever reason that worked for these people.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, wait a second, I can get a hard-on when I'm sleeping. That means I can get a hard-on.
Exactly.
But, excuse me. But, these guys want to argue with me. And he's like, you and that guy, Tom Gilbanks, you don't believe any of this stuff, that people are suffering, that this has destroyed people's lives. And I was like, dude, put the brakes on. I'm here trying to help you. I never said I don't believe it. But there's different reasons why something may be destroying someone's life.
Yeah. You can't automatically point to one cause without any proof.
When it comes to sex, listen. Your body it's wild what it can do when you're thinking about something. Yeah. Like if I'm focusing on an ache or pain, which I have many of, I have tendinopathy basically all over my body at this point. I'm in pain. And if I'm not thinking about it, if I'm reading, which is difficult for me because of my ADD, but I try, or if I'm watching television or something, I'm not in pain. I don't feel shit.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on sex. If you think you can't have sex, you're not going to have it.
I won't. Trust me. I will not get you started on it.
I think I'm the opposite. I think I have delusions of grandeur in that department.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'll stop doing my thing and I'll wipe my brow like I'm fucking Superman. and she's yawning. I'm okay with that. Let's see who this is.
Is it in yet?
Yeah. You know what? Even that I'm okay with. I have zero ego.
It's not about her.
I have zero ego in that department. It's not about her. Like, if that's not
something about her.
Yeah, if this isn't something that is good for you, it was good for me. And if you want to stick around,
okay with that.
No, if you want to, I tried my best.
I tried my best. I'm almost 56. I tried my best. Oh, this is you. Sorry. Yeah.
Almost. You're a young man. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air.
Yes,
Who's this and where are you calling from? Caller, what's up? Hello.
Hey, this is Cameron. I'm calling from Florida.
Cameron, what's going on, brother?
What's up, Cameron?
Hey, guys. Not that long of a listener, maybe a few months, but love the show. Thank you guys for doing it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
You guys have been talking about compounded drugs, like finasteride and oral monoxide.
Do not get me started. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I've been actually taking the HIMS since November of 2024. and having great
Okay.
results. Went through a little bit. Sorry?
I said okay.
Okay, yeah, sorry. And having great results.
That's great.
Had initial shed, of course, at first. But yeah, love the results. But you guys been I've been hearing, especially Spencer, a lot of fear mongering surrounding compounded drugs. So I was just wondering if there's any way, or what you guys should think I should do to maybe taper off the Hims and switch over to
No.
maybe
And I
branding
think
Alopecia.
I think
Don't.
fear I think
No, no,
fear
no, no.
I think fear mongering is a little
Okay.
harsh, and I expect an apology. No,
written apology.
I'm just telling you guys the truth.
In triplicate.
Now, what I think is, if you're currently doing well on what you're taking, do not mess with it, because it's not guaranteed they're going to switch the drugs out on you. And even if they do, it's also not guaranteed that whatever they decide to source that medication, that it won't work for you. So you may be able to use this Hims subscription for another decade and do great, where another guy won't. So to me, it's just important when someone starts to know these realities, and if they can, find a consistent source. But right now you're doing well, so don't wean off of anything. Don't switch brands. Continue to pay your ransom and live your life.
Yeah.
Okay. I was a little
much.
concerned because at first I just hopped on, I was just gung-ho. I hopped on both. I should have started on Finasteride and see how I did on that. But I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to hop on both. But
Well,
I mean,
are
like
you
I
at
said, it's
least
been doing
using
me
them
well, so-
separately?
No, he's
No,
he's compounded.
it's the compounded oral minoxidil hemp and the Finasteride.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
listen,
1.2 milligrams of Finasteride.
you're in.
3.3 of oral minoxidil.
You're in, and it's working for you. So that means you're a good responder. And as long as they don't change that formula on you, and you don't feel any different, you're good.
Okay.
See, I think, and this is what's interesting about this, and I understand why you would feel that way. Like, okay, Kobren says this isn't good. It's not that it's not good. It could be very effective. It's just like, that's not the way that I would go, or that, most doctors, in my view, would want to prescribe medication to somebody. Because God forbid, if you did have adverse side effects, which you don't, you wouldn't know which drug is causing it. You can't really titrate from one drug or another drug. You'd have to titrate off both simultaneously. And then you may, people just quit because they think they've had side effects or they had side effects when they could have mitigated those side effects. These are drugs, I think, in general, that really need to be monitored independently. They're very different medications. But this is the world we live in. This is a product that's being sold to, at this point, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. And you're doing well on it. So just be happy, man. Be happy you didn't get fucked up.
Yeah,
That's the main
it's impossible
thing. Yeah.
not to see the Hims, the ads all over social media. So I was, I just went with what I saw. So should do a little bit more research at first initially, but
Well, no.
doing
You can't. How old are you?
so. I'm 25.
Okay. You can't blame yourself. I would have done the same thing. I would have probably been taking Hims on the plane to Turkey if I was 25 years old.
I'm not going that far. You guys have slowed down any sort of thoughts of a transplant, so that's not happening anytime soon.
I'm glad. But I'm just saying that's how desperate I was. I flew out here I was living in New York. I was young. And I had the cash at the time. I was very lucky. And I flew out here to New York. There was a doctor. His name is Garth Fisher. And I thank him to this day, who I saw on an old talk show called Liza. And they were talking about the Rolls Royce of hair transplant surgery. And it was a flap surgery that he was performing. It was a free-form flap that he had done himself in Japan. He was the only guy in America doing this free-form flap. I was like, this is it, man. This is what I need. And I flew out there, and he looked at me. He said, first of all, you're so young. Secondly, you still have most of your hair. And he said, if this flap dies, you will be stuck wearing a wig for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And he said, enjoy Los Angeles. Enjoy what you have. You're a nice-looking kid. I mean, I couldn't. I mean, I was just like this guy. I was there. I would have paid him $20,000 at the time to fix my shit, and he turned me away. And to this day, and I thank him. He's a really famous plastic surgeon. He does all the, celebrity boob jobs and like porn star boob jobs. He's very well known here in Los Angeles. I've thanked him. I've texted him. I've written him emails, and I thanked him. He's really one of the reasons why I wrote my book. He got me motivated. Wow. He basically said to me, don't do anything. And this is a time when finasteride wasn't even available. Now, he's a hair loss sufferer who had a flap himself, who's had transplants. I think he may be wearing it at this point. I'm not sure. He's older. He's a good-looking dude. But he understood the pain that I was going through. And he was just like, dude, you are fine. You may progress eventually. You may need something eventually, but then now is not the time. Meanwhile, Norman Orenreich was willing to transplant me back in the day. So anyway, that's why one of the reasons I do what I do. And you see all these young kids your age, who are running to get hair transplants. And even if they seem to look good now, they are all, and I hate saying this, but it's the truth, and it's for you guys who haven't done it yet, they're fucked. So I'm glad you found us. Hims is fine. Trust me. Most guys do pretty well on it. I'm just a believer in, making sure you're working with the real McCoy from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And not mixing it with anything else to start with. But
right.
You started that way. Yeah. It's working for you. Do not change anything.
Yeah.
And keep us updated. Keep calling back. Let us know how it's going.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right, brother.
Thank you. Yeah, for sure.
All right, good luck.
Show. Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
He's finished. I'm just kidding. Look, caller, I'm joking. I'm joking. Look, Hims, obviously Hims and all these companies, they found good, generics. They have a great marketing. They're public companies. This one is at least. And they're doing well. Many people will do well on their products. Now, I wouldn't touch them. Cut to the newest American Hair Loss Association trusted brand.
Yeah. It's good.
Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Kenny from New York.
Kenny from New York. What's happening, brother?
What's up, Kenny?
Hey, how are you? I was just listening to
pretty good.
The other caller, and
how's my hair, Kenny?
Good, nice. Oh, it looks great.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it looks good.
Thank you.
Yep. It's all right, no problem. But no, I was listening to the other caller, and it definitely is. It's like doctors today. It's so hard to find a good doctor who has like proper bedside manner and everything. Because I definitely was in that boat where I actually early on when I first started noticing my hair loss, I had gone to a dermatologist that I was going to in New Jersey as a kid, but I saw him later because I knew he specialized in hair. And I think he used to be a member of your organization.
Feinberg?
I think it's Herbert.
Herbert Feinberg.
Yeah.
He's still working?
Yeah. So, I think he is still
You're
there.
kidding me.
I don't know. This was like...
Herb's got to be like 100.
I mean, he might be. I know. He's up there, but he...
Talk about a head. That guy had some head of hair.
Yeah, he did, especially like when I saw him. I mean, this was like 11 years ago.
Yeah.
So that, he might have retired, but
dude, he was old 11 years ago.
He was.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he was, but I remembered when he he looked at my hairline. He's like, you're not a candidate for any surgery or anything like that. And I mean, at the time, I couldn't afford it anyway, but just the fact that he felt like it wasn't right, I felt good about it and just thought, let me get on medication. And, like I said, I've been on it now for 11 years and, I still have, say, like most of my hair still.
Yeah. But somebody else may have just plugged you up, man. And you would have been on the road of consistent surgery, trying to repair stuff. I mean, you're really lucky that you ran into Herb.
Yeah, no, I mean, he was good. You know, he definitely did not try and talk me into anything. You know, he wasn't even sure if, like, because when he first saw me, he kind of like chuckled a little bit because he was like, what are you here about your hair? Like, you look like, you know, but I always kept it kind of like bangs a little bit, so you couldn't really see it until, like, you know, he took a comb and he lifted up my hairline. He's like, oh yeah, I see a little bit of something, you know, but you could probably get on Propecia now and maintain it, but you're not a candidate for surgery or anything like that. So, and you know, I'm grateful I wasn't talked into it or anything like that. So
I love that.
But yeah, no, it's hard to find like good doctors and people who, you know, doctors who are actually willing to take the time and explain things, because, you know, when you get any type of procedure done, you know, they don't even want to explain it to you or aftercare or anything like that until it's done. And you're like, wait, I have to do this and that. It's like, you know, it sucks.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And that's why I think it's really important to kind of walk in there armed with all the questions. Now, you have to do it in a way where you don't come off as neurotic, which for some people that's difficult. But essentially just like, you know, like you're sitting there and you're interviewing them with a clipboard. Make them answer all. Right. No matter, dude, when I see any doctor, I warn them. I like, listen, you know, if you want to set up another, you know, give me another 15 minutes on your schedule, I would appreciate that. I'll pay for it. But I have a lot of questions. And then they tell me that they're not taking any new patients. Just kidding.
Gosh.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's very difficult, man. I mean, I saw this reel or this TikTok from this woman and she's gotten some press. She flew to Turkey to have dental implants because they're less expensive. They ripped out her teeth. They drilled her mouth, put these implants, these spokes in, then put the caps on or whatever, the crowns. And then she had a tremendous infection from it. And now her face is basically falling apart. Now, the reality is you can't get implants in a day, or you can get like these denture implants in a day, where they put like 2 or 3 posts in your mouth and then put like a denture on there type of thing. But real implants, first the tooth has to be removed, and then that takes 4 months to heal. And then there may be some bone grafting that's needed, and that could take another 3 months after the bone grafting. By the time you actually get the post put in or the implant put in, that's a year to do it safely. And then you have to go to a dentist to have a crown made. These people fly to Turkey and get it done in like 2 days.
Yeah, but I also think it's like you really need to educate yourself too. Like you really have to like look into this. It's not something that you could just take somebody's word for. I don't know, you know, like, yeah.
Well, but no, I mean, of course, that's the whole thing. This is the society that we live in today. And people go online. Like we were talking about this guy who was, he's a hair transplant consultant online. And just goes on there, talks about his personal experience, and then, charges people a certain amount of money, and then guides them in directions of certain doctors. And these kids listen to this information without doing their due diligence or fully understanding what they're getting involved in, and they're putting themselves at a tremendous risk. When you're dealing with these other cosmetic procedures, especially when you're dealing with something like drilling titanium into your jaw, it's made out like it's just some sort of, it's easy. This is new technology.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have teeth? We'll give you teeth. Or what about these guys who are having they call them veneers, the Turkish, but they're not veneers. They're essentially grinding these poor suckers' teeth down to nubs and putting on full mouth crowns. What will happen to their teeth eventually is not going to be pretty. Even if everything came out great. And sadly, you've seen how they look,
Yeah. It's like a wall of white.
Well, I do know that
like,
sometimes when my light hits a certain way, I get some jerks out there saying like why'd you get your teeth so white? But in person, my teeth don't look like they do on camera. But these people actually look like their teeth are coming out. It's like a horse's teeth, and they're like paper white, and that's how they look in person. Yeah. But forget about the way that they look. They're not veneers. They have no more tooth structure left.
Yeah.
That's why it's so cheap. They're making very inexpensive crowns, full mouth crowns, and destroying these people's teeth. And this is like the new normal. And all of these kids, they don't know what they're getting involved in. So when you say do your research, no one's doing the research. You're doing your research. The 100 people that watch this program now or whatever, or the 1,000 that'll watch it in a week or 2,000, they're doing their research. The several thousand people that follow me on social media, they're doing their research. But a lot of them are angry with me because I'm telling them the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I also think when you do your research, that requires a lot of work, a lot of mental stress, because it's not easy to sit there and actually look things up that may disappoint.
Dude, I can't buy an effing vacuum because of Amazon. Amazon ruined that for me because I have to read every review, and it's like, wait a second. This person said that the cord frayed in 2 weeks. I can't get this piece of shit.
Yeah, I can't get this. Exactly.
And it could just be one review. It could be like 1,000 great reviews, but you hear one really bad review or read one really bad review, and that's it. You're like, oh, I can't buy this.
Dude, I have a GI doctor. I went to get my colonoscopy done by this guy a few years ago. Loved him. Great guy. And I was asked to recommend this doctor, so I just happened to look him up and just, out of curiosity, and I saw some reviews, and there's like one bad review. This guy, in 2012, apparently, he perforated someone's colon, destroyed his life. Now, if I would have read that review before I went to this guy.
It's like nope to the nope.
Yeah. But then you read everyone, and then I said, let me see some other reviews. Perforated colons all over the place. Now, but it's a rare, really? It's rare that it happens. Yeah. But the people that it happens to, it's effed up. And you see that review. So, yeah, I'm going off on a tangent, but yeah, doing your research is very difficult. And I have to think of my life. I couldn't really do my research. I researched from my book, but I just had the wherewithal to step back and say, there's something wrong here.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't feel right.
It didn't feel right. Yeah. I went with my gut. Unlike my friendship with Joe.
I mean, I'm
kidding.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, man. No, but, I'm also dealing with, not like a serious health issue or anything like that, but, I'm doing research right now because I have, a sty on my eyelid that's just not going away.
Chalazion.
And, I guess. So you know what it is already.
Yeah, I had one pop. It was the most, I don't want to upset you, but it was the most painful, and I've been through pain. Okay?
Yeah.
It was the most painful ordeal. I just remember.
Yeah, I'm looking it up now.
Common law was sitting across from me. First of all, the doctor freaked out because the blood was he didn't expect it. But
he even jumped.
Yeah. But now my tooth hurts. But it was. But I could tell you this. I mean, it's easy to get rid of, but. Depending on the situation, just make sure you find someone who could really anesthetize you well. Because I don't think my guy did.
Yeah, because the things I'm reading, because I went to my optometrist, and he said you don't go to an ophthalmologist because they aren't equipped to do surgery because it's your eyelid, and there are all these little oil glands in your eyelid, and if they cut any of them, those glands could die off, and that's how people get severe dry eye very quickly. And
I wish I knew
glands,
that.
Once they're cut, that's it. They don't grow back or anything. And as you get older, these glands automatically start to die off. So, like, he said, like, your best bet is to go to an oculoplastic surgeon who deals with eyelids. But I looked up the actual procedure, and it seems like a little invasive. Like, they flip your eyelid over, inside out, and they cut it and they drain it, and then they patch you up. I don't think they use, like, stitches or anything. It's just it heals. But
yeah, it wasn't. I mean, they basically just used it. They just lanced it. So they flip your eye inside out. They lance it. They didn't cut it with a scalpel or anything. And they just lanced it.
Antibiotics.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you have antibiotics, and that's it.
But did they cut it from, like, the outside, or did they flip your eyelid?
It was the inside.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, like,
it's
obviously
torture.
I don't want to have to.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, because I've been looking up online, and it seems like, a pretty intensive thing. So the other option that's offered, because they offer it at the optometrist I go to, it's like an IPL treatment.
Mm-hmm.
So they just basically, it's like a light, and it just heats up the oil really hot, and it melts the oil within your eyelid, and it reduces inflammation. And I've read a lot of good things about it. The only thing is insurance doesn't cover, of course. So it'd be like, I don't know, $450 per session, and they recommend like 4 sessions. So
dude, if that works,
I'm looking to
do it. Because let me tell you something. I'm not joking. Like, common law never saw me cry before.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. No, it was bad.
No,
It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it was painful, but it resolved very quickly after it was lanced.
Yeah, and you never had one again.
No, but I'm prone to them. I'm prone to styes and stuff. So I have to wipe my eyes pretty consistently with. They make these eye wash pads because I don't produce. Mm-hmm. Basically, those glands get a little clogged for me. So as long as I keep them clean.
Yeah, that's what I'm going through now.
As long as I keep them clean, I'm good.
Yeah. So I've also been cleaning my eyelids now, and like washing my face more often.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Like my skin gets
nice. Good for you.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah. So, but
we've lost every caller, but whatever.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to stop to take up the show.
No, it's all right, brother.
But yeah, no. So, but that's it. So I'm looking into maybe doing that. I know it's not hair loss related, but I figured.
Well, you know what? It's funny. If I had that option, I would have done that. My guy was just like, "Look, it's easy. I do this all the time, and just come in. I'll hook you up." And he hooked me up all right. He hooked me up all right. I'll tell you that.
He made Spencer cry.
But if you saw this guy's face when the blood popped out, he didn't expect that. Like, he looked like, it was like, what the hell? I told him, listen, you're not comforting me here.
One of those Dr. Pimple Popper videos?
It was like that, yeah. Like, it basically, like all of a sudden, there's like blood on his mask.
Oh, come on.
Oh, man. That's rough.
And it was my blood.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it went a good distance then. It went pretty far if it hit his mask.
Yeah, I mean, he was a little close to me, I think. It was a little uncomfortable. Good thing he had a mint in his mouth, though. It smelled pretty good.
Good thing it's getting towards dinner time back east.
Well, listen, good luck with the Chilean brother. It's a pain in the ass. I mean, and look, I could find a picture. I should put it online. I mean, I was like a cyclops for a couple of weeks there. And I was like, man, this shit's not going away. So I had to get it taken care of. Is yours big?
Yeah, I mean, it was. And then I got on antibiotics, and then it shrunk a little bit. So it is a little bit small, but it is pretty big.
Are you using warm compresses at night?
Yeah, well, it actually drained a little bit, so there was a bit of like an open wound.
Right.
So I stopped using warm compress, and what I do is, I mean, I wouldn't recommend anybody do this because it's a little, you could hurt yourself. But I take like a hot, like I heat up boiling water, and then I kind of put a towel over it, and I like steam my face a little bit, and that like kind of opens up the pores a little bit. So I'm not putting direct pressure on the actual, because it was like a little bit of a wound, and it stung a little bit. So, but to get like that warm compress, I just kind of give myself like a mini sauna, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of information, but it makes sense.
Yeah, right. But no, it is a pain in the ass, and it's something that the IPL thing. It's been around for like 20 years. It was used in dermatology to treat like acne and rosacea and stuff.
I know what IPL is. I just didn't know. I didn't know it was used for shrinking chalazions.
Yeah, well, what they do is they put like a metal shield over your eye.
Yeah,
and they kind of hit it like the heat.
I could Google it.
I'll
Google. I'll check it out.
Okay. Yeah. So, but I'll.
No, you're just easy to fuck with. I'm kidding. I love when you call. I'm glad that you're a fan of the show, and it's great content as well. And everything else is good.
Oh yeah, and everything else is good. I'll let you guys go. I know it's late tonight, but no, thank you for taking my call.
Oh, my pleasure, man. Good hearing from you. Good luck with your eye.
No problem.
All right, take care. All right, thank you.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Dude, that was the most painful shit I've ever been through.
Sounds like.
I'm not talking about the call either. I'm talking about the chalazion.
Oh, okay. The chalazion.
Yeah.
Chalazion. Sounds like a lazy Chilean. Chalazion.
It was
I don't know.
Let me tell you something. You get one of those that makes you like very diligent about cleaning your eyes.
I bet.
All right, guys, we have a little bit more time before I'm going to call it a night. 888-659-3727. We did have the lines lit, and then you guys, what happened to me?
I did have I was kind of hoping someone from New York that I know was going to call in today talking about his long journey into hell. He was improving some I won't give it away like if he wants to call, but he was improving his situation after a bad surgery 10 years ago. Jesus Christ, 10 years ago. And he was on his way to making things right, looking good. Most people would look at him and say there's nothing wrong, but he had some issues that were still nagging at him, and he reminded me of this yesterday. He said, "You told me the day before I did this not to do this." He said, "I didn't listen to you."
Well, we have a couple of lines.
Now I'm paying yeah, let's see who it is.
All right.
See if it's called.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Hi, my name's Will Schulte.
Hey, Will. Thanks for giving us your last name. Where do you live?
Philadelphia.
All right. Will Shelton from
Right
Philadelphia.
on.
I'm going to Google you right now.
Right on, Will.
What's up, brother?
Well, I wanted to, I had a hair transplant.
Okay.
About, I guess 30 months ago. It was January of 26. January 26, 2023.
Okay.
And I got to admit, it was the worst experience I ever had in my life.
I'm sorry.
And I'm still
Sorry to hear that.
still going through it. Yeah.
Well, let's hear about it.
Well, I guess I'll leave out the doctor's name because I'm sure it's probably not a good idea.
Is he from the U.S.?
I thought I would. Oh, yeah. Yeah, New York City, and very reputable.
Let's hear it.
And,
yeah, why are you hiding the name?
Why are you hiding the name?
Well, then I won't then. I just thought maybe,
No.
You know Feller and Bloxham? You know Feller and Bloxham?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was contacting them, and I wanted to get some work done. I went up to New York where they're at, Great Neck, and I got basically, him to look at, and he goes, I think you don't need nothing now, And I said, okay.
Now, who looked at you? Was it Feller or Bloxham? I don't think Feller's practicing it anymore.
No, he's not. As a matter of fact, they said he does repair work, but he don't even do repair work anymore. Okay? So, no, it's just Dr. Blake.
But why should he? He did it right for himself. He got his boy to take over the practice, made him a partner, and he just collects the checks.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, and that's cool. Hey, I'm all for that.
Why not?
And like I said, I don't know.
Listen, let's put it this way. No matter, Feller has always been a very interesting cat, but he certainly understood how to evolve his practice and did a really good job over the years. And frankly, he became a very good surgeon. So, I don't begrudge him anything, man. He helped a lot of people over the years, and he figured, what? I'm old now. I'm going to retire. He's younger than me, but,
Yeah. Well, actually, I met him. Actually, he came in during my procedure.
Really?
Yeah, he came in during which I thought was kind of odd. But when I look back on it, okay, I drove up from Philadelphia.
Well, maybe there was a problem. Maybe that's why I came in.
Well, that's what I was going to get to. Okay, essentially, so I get it done, and I'm in the chair for Jesus God. I didn't even stop for lunch because it was pretty long. I got there. I guess I stayed at a hotel up there, and then I went in. I guess by 7:30, and Dr. Bloxham, checking me out, and he's like doing the lines and everything. I go, okay. And,
now, let me ask you this. How old are you, and how much hair loss did you have before the surgery?
I had more like in my temple area and the front, like the forehead, the above. And it was just receding, and it was just like losing it there.
Did they tell you to get on finasteride?
I was on finasteride for about 2 years prior.
Okay, so
they wouldn't prescribe it. They wouldn't prescribe it for me. They said
they don't.
No, right. They wouldn't prescribe it. I had to get it from a dermatologist.
Their motto is, we do surgery, we don't do prescriptions.
Well,
like that.
I remember. Yeah, Alan Feller actually said that his job is to move hair, not to prescribe medication.
Exactly. Yeah. So they didn't do that. They said, that's fine if you want to be on it. And I said, okay, because I wanted to try that first. Because I've listened to your program for years, and the long story.
Well, then why'd you end up on the island?
Because
3 years ago. 2 years ago.
Because I didn't. I wanted my face framed a little bit better. Okay, I wanted the look that I had, prior into my 50s. I'm 64. Okay?
Oh, okay.
I got this done. Mm-hmm. I got this done when I was like 61. Okay, I guess I was 60. Yeah. So I wanted, I kind of wanted the lower hairline, and I guess they call it the Hollywood. They have a name for it called the Hollywood.
Who has a name
Transplant.
for it? They have a name for it.
Yeah. I think it's pretty well known throughout the industry. I guess it's called the Hollywood.
It's not well known throughout the industry. It's
okay.
That is the most ridiculous marketing term. Well, not the most, but one of the most ridiculous marketing terms I've heard in a long time in this field. That's classic.
Yeah.
Sorry, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway, I go up there and I'm like,
1992 called. They want their marketing campaign back.
No, he didn't.
The Hollywood. Fuck me. That's embarrassing. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
So,
it's like a sandwich.
All right. So basically, I'm like, okay, I want some work done in the front and on the sides, because it was thin, and and I got a pretty good head of hair everywhere else,
Yeah.
And so he starts the surgery. I'm just trying to get my facts straight.
Go ahead.
He starts the surgery, and he starts to numb me up. Okay, and after he numbs me up, basically, he starts to, I guess, do the incision in the back, an FUT, which I would never get done ever again in my life. I'd never get an FUT.
Mm-hmm.
So he starts to do the FUT. Okay. Now I'm pretty relaxed, but he didn't offer me nothing, anything to relax me. And I was cool. I was like, I'm okay with this. This isn't bad. I can take pain, and he was numbing it up. So anyway, he gets through that, and he takes out the strip, and then he realizes, he's doing the holes in the front, where the recipient area is. And he tells me, he goes, "Oh, I'm short. I don't have enough." And I go, "What do you mean?" I thought you kind of I thought there was some kind of measurement that he would know that he have at least more than enough or a little bit more than enough. He goes, "No, I'm going to have to take more." So he decides to cut me more going forward. Do you know what I mean? Like he cut the back, and then all of a sudden now he's going to cut on the sides and go forward.
Now, you weren't sutured already.
No, I was sutured the first time when he removed the first strip.
So the strip was removed. They closed the strip, and then what happened? You're saying that he created too many recipient sites for the grafts that were utilized?
Exactly.
How is that even possible?
Well, this is.
I can tell you how it's possible.
Yeah.
I can tell you how it's possible. When you're looking at the donor area, you're taking out the strip. It is basically a guesstimate of how many you're getting based on how wide and how long the donor strip will be, and you can look at the recipient and the area of loss and say, okay, this needs 2,200 grafts or whatever, and if you know what you're doing, experience and talent, then you can gauge how long and how wide of a donor strip to take. Sometimes it's not unheard of to come up short. And if the donor wound is closed already, and while incisions are being made, technicians are dissecting the grafts from the strip tissue, and hopefully using the microscopes to refine them and get the singles and all that good stuff. It is not unheard of for that count to come up short, and then the doctor having to say, you know what, we need to go back in and take some more, remove the staples that have already been placed in, elongate the wound maybe a few more centimeters to get that extra bit, and then close it back up, still being one strip line at the end. So it sounds terrible, but it is not unheard of. I just want to make sure that's clear.
No, that's interesting, Joe, and that's why I keep you around, because being in my position, I'm not hearing these issues from. This is the first time a patient ever called to report this. And I'm not hearing these issues over the years that were happening in clinics. You were in a clinic. You've seen these things happen. So this is one thing that I never heard about in my 30 years.
Of what I just explained.
Right, but Joe has seen it. So Joe is saying that this is something that happened. So that's why I keep Joe around.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Okay. So then I'm like, okay. I'm like, and I'm telling you, at that point, though, I start to get nervous. And all of a sudden, Dr. Feller comes in, and I'm like, whoa. I'm like the man himself, And I found it, I don't know why, but I felt it was like he just happened to drop by, okay? And they're talking, and I shook his hand. I go, hey, man, I've seen your videos, and I really respect everything.
No, you didn't see Bloxham push that red button on the side? I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
No, I know. No, but I just thought it was really ironic, okay, so anyway, I'm in my own world now, okay? I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, man. I'm like, he's cutting more up, and I'm getting nervous, okay? So I said, look, I said, I might need something to relax. And he goes, well, I he was real hesitant to give me anything. I said, well, look, I take Ativan, but I didn't take an Ativan then. okay? Because I want it to be. So I said, I'm going to need one because I'm getting really, really nervous here, okay? And I mean, I'm actually trembling, okay? Because I'm like, what's going on? It doesn't seem right, okay? And so I'm like, all right. So he goes, let me do this. And now I have to be honest with you. I think he closed me up, but I'm not 100% sure. He might have still kept me open, okay? Like I said, I'm not looking at this. I got, he's working on me with assistants and stuff. And so basically, he's like, okay. He goes, I got enough. And like I said, I'm in the chair for a long time, and my head is like swollen like a beach ball at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm bleeding all over.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, I got pictures of all this because I had my phone with me. Okay. I got from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And so I go, okay. I know there's got to be some pain. But I swear to God, the worst part of it all is basically when he start to staple me. And I asked him from the beginning, how you have to sign papers like, this could possibly happen, like there could be this problem or this problem. And I said, well, have you ever had it? He goes, no, I've never had this happen. I've never had anybody had numbness. I never had anybody had problems with issues through there, or anything like that. And I was like, okay, I go, all right, okay. And like I said, I felt pretty comfortable because I did my research.
Yeah, my gastroenterologist told me when I asked him that he never perforated a colon, and then I read online that he did it allegedly did it in 2012.
Okay, yeah. So they're not. Well, like I said, I'm taking his word. Like I said, I feel good, like initially, but as the procedure's going on, I'm getting more and more anxious and nervous.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I want to put this out there for people who are just tuning in because this is a really important story. But I just want to say in general, while Blake Bloxham has never applied to the IHRS, I've in general only heard good things because he was trained by Alan Feller. And no matter how I feel about certain people in this field or what's transpired over the years, I have to be honest with their skill set. And I don't love the fact that they do not prescribe finasteride. I think it's kind of shitty, to be honest with you, if you're going to be in the hair world. But he trained with a really good doctor, and I haven't really heard much complaints. So you may be an unfortunate anomaly, but I think your story is important for people to hear.
Well, I'm not right, and this is why I'm getting it out there. It took me, like I said, 30 months because I held on to hope. That my scalp would feel better. Okay. So anyway, I get the staples put in, right? And I'm telling you, I never felt anything so tight in my life. And I'm like, wow, is this normal? He goes, yeah.
It is normal.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It is normal.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So I go, okay. So after 10 days, okay, I guess it was 10 days, maybe 11 days or so, I go back to New York. He looks at it, and he has his assistant pull out the staples and not him, which I felt a little like, I paid you $15,000, dude, close to $15,000 to do this.
I understand that, but I just want to be honest with you. That's basically the status quo.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm not.
I used to take out staples.
Yeah.
When I'd see patients
with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
Exactly, and still wearing my sunglasses. Okay, it's very simple to do.
Okay.
I mean, you do have to have a bit of a nuance to know how to get them out without causing the patient to scream, because there's no numbing going on. But it's usually pretty smooth, and it really isn't anything for the doctor to deal with. It's nothing.
And I just want to tell you
what
this.
Is important.
Yeah, go ahead.
It is important if the doctor comes to look at it right after they're taken out, before you leave, to make sure that there's no inflammation, make sure there's no undue oozing or signs of any sort of infection. That's important. That is what he does need to look at, or she. But as far as things like this, there are team members, there are technicians in the clinic for a reason, and this is one of the things that they generally do. So it's not something I feel is demanding of the doctor's attention. It's the more in-depth things where they're making the cuts. That's more along the lines of what's necessary.
But don't
feel like you got gypped out.
Yeah, but I also want you to understand that your story is super important, and we would love everything you say to be really shitty, so that we can like bust on these guys. But so far, it seems. And Joe actually surprised me. This is the one thing I didn't know. I've never heard of a case where they had to go back in and get more grafts. And I've been doing this for 30 years. Yeah. And the reason I haven't heard of it is because any surgery that I was actually watching, that never happened. And no one's going to call me up and say, guess what, Spence? We had to go back into we had to go back in this guy's head twice.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, that's so like I said, I was like, okay, she's a trained, technician, and pulling out staples, anybody I can do that that's trained to do that. Okay. Whether or not he came to look at it, I'm going to say he did, though I can't remember. Okay. To be honest with you, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt. But in the meantime, though, my scalp, the tightness, it just seemed like it got worse. Okay. And I was doing everything, I could. Now, and there was also scabs, and he was saying, well, you should have washed them off a little bit better. And I go, okay, whatever. I go, maybe I should have. And, after 10 days. And then he's there, just go back. Oh, and I had severe bruising too. My eyes blew up. Okay. I had it looked like I was in a fight, like a boxing match fight. My eyes were black and blue. My whole head was swollen and everything. I mean, and I was like, okay, is this normal? And I sent pictures to him because what he does is he gives you his cell phone number, and he won't talk to you unless you come in personally. He'll just text you, and you will text him.
Really?
And I kept, yeah. He'll give you his personal cell phone, and he will just text you, but you will not, I've never talked I had to go in every time to talk to him, to have a conversation with him.
And you had to drive from Philly.
Yes, exactly.
I think that's a little, I have to say for $15,000, I find that to be a little inconsiderate.
Two words, dick move. I
found a lot of things, his bedside manner to be like, I'm done with you. And, this is what I did.
Well, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. He learned how to do surgery from one of the best, and he got his bedside manner from one of the best, apparently.
Apparently, yeah.
Well,
because it sounds very similar to other experiences that I've heard about.
Well, like I said, his bedside manner, his concern, he kind of made light of everything, and he made it like this is normal. This is all normal. And I said, I've read, now a few months has gone by, and I'm going, all right, maybe I'm just sensitive. Maybe I'm just, I got sensitive nerves in my scalp or whatever, But so I said, this too will pass. It's like anything, I either went to my dermatologist. They said, I don't see no infection. I said, they said, it does seem, if you say it's tight and it feels like there's inflammation there still, I even went into an emergency, and the doctor's like, well, I'm not really familiar with anything like this. He goes, but an emergency
sure.
in Philadelphia. And he goes, I'm not very familiar with this, but I could prescribe, steroids, to take the swelling down. So I wasn't sure. So I had him prescribed, and then I contacted.
How long were you swollen? And how many weeks after the surgery was this?
This was probably about a month and a half after the surgery. And my head still felt very, very tight, throbbing. I'm not making this up. To this day, I'm still, I still have throbbing and tightness. Okay.
I believe you.
In the back or where?
Well, I have it, in the back, When I lay on a pillow, I could feel it in the back. And on the sides, where he cut more, when he had to take more. And actually where he was putting the hair in, I feel my right side, where
really?
it's sore. And yeah, my entire, it's almost like he did a full circle of like a whole incision around 3/4 of my scalp, from almost from ear to ear. And then the rest of it, cause he did temple work. Okay. And then he did, above my forehead, and just like, I don't know, I think maybe he went too aggressive. And that was the conversation I had with him before we started. I said, look, I don't want you to go too aggressive, and I don't want you to go, conservative. I want to be in the middle, if that made any sense.
Let me ask you a question before we go on. How's the aesthetic result?
All right. This is what happened, okay? For the first 8 months, okay, I can send you pictures privately. Matter of fact, I left on Instagram something with Joe Tillman, and I left my phone number with Joe, hoping, and then I said, God, you guys are on
Joe
live.
doesn't know how to operate any of that stuff.
No, he can't. Well, I left my, I said, if you want to hear a nightmare to me it was a nightmare. Maybe to the doctor it wasn't a nightmare. Maybe it was just, But anyway,
well, you're making it a nightmare for him right now, brother. Go ahead.
Well, like I said, I don't want.
Before you even say that, you have the right to come onto this program and to voice your concerns. Now, we had no idea who this doctor was. These could have been, this could have been a member of the IAHRS, could have been working with Joe. We want to hear, whoever it is, we want to hear what's going down.
Well, like he's always, when I text him, I thought he could have been a little bit more patient friendly, and he played it down, which, in a way, patients want to hear that. They don't want to hear like, I possibly might have made a mistake or something, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying he did, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not the doctor. I just know that everything I read about hair transplants, okay, unless you get a really bad one or one, you have symptoms like this. Okay. And they can be considered like I feel as though I have some nerve damage in my scalp now. I feel I got like nubs where the incision is. It's almost like ingrown hairs. I don't know, and I did ask him, I said, instead of stapling it, could you have done the
suture?
I forget what, like a suture, like a tropical, I'm not pronouncing it right. And he
trichophytic closure.
Yeah, he's there now. I don't do that. I do staples at the time, I believe he said. So, after all this, like I said, and I got to drive back to Philly, I'm like, you know what? I go, I think I can make it back. And he goes, oh, and don't take any pain pills because you're driving. I said, well, yeah, all right, you're right. I shouldn't. So I didn't. But, I got out of there, I got in there about 7:30 and in the morning, and I got out of there, I guess, about 6:30. Of course, he took the rest of my check. But, he never gave me a receipt. He never gave me a chart, or saying exactly what he did, And I was like, that's really strange, like I don't even know how many.
I just want to say, this is, even though he's a young guy, this is an old school practice. This is a practice that kind of was founded in a time where this was a very fringe form of cosmetic surgery. And the people that were involved, even though they're doctors, they didn't necessarily, in many cases, conduct themselves in a manner in which you think they should conduct themselves or you should be handled after having surgery. It's just the way that it is, man. It's almost like some of these guys, and I'm not saying necessarily this was Feller's situation, but some of these guys operated like it's a wig shop.
Well, yeah. Like I said, once it was done, it was like, he took my, and like I said, he tried to just like basically, I'm not going to play it like this is normal, okay? And so I go, okay. So now you ask me how were the results, right?
Yeah.
So fast forward about like 8 months, and it's getting bushier. You know what I'm saying? It's getting thicker. It's like real wiry though. It's real wiry. And I'm like, all right, well, and I asked him about that. I mean, and I have every single text that I kept, of our conversing back and forth. And, and some of them, like I said, was almost like I said, well, I'm still experiencing this. I'm still experiencing that. And he goes, well, I don't know what to tell you. Almost. That's what he essentially says to me.
Is that what he essentially said, or is that what he said? Did he say, I don't know what to tell you?
Yeah. In one text. It's like, I kind of don't know what to tell you, I mean, and I was just like, all right, well, that's kind of concerning.
Well, actually, it just shows his naivete as a young physician. And I would think that since he was trained by Alan Feller, who really understands the game as far as, communicating with people and all the shit you can deal with, I think he should have been better trained in his patient communication.
Definitely. And when I asked him about how tight this was, hey, I swear, if he would have said, because I told him, I said, it's just too tight, man. Everything I read, because I was reading up everything about this, I said, it's just too tight. It's just too tight. I can't stand it. And I would have wished for him to say, come on in, man. Maybe I could loosen it up or something. I don't even know if that's possible, okay? But anyway, to go back to, the problem of, so my hair starts coming in, okay? So I'm thinking, okay, and I kept it long, to hide it and everything. And my hair starts coming in wiry, but it does start to come in, okay? And, and for the first year, it was looking pretty good. I mean, the first year from January of 2023, the 26th, that I got it done, till, January 2024, I was happy, but I wasn't happy about how my scalp felt.
Sure.
Scalp. Mm-hmm. Still, I was like, at this point, I'm like, Jesus, God, I'm like, if I knew that an FUT, and I'm blaming it on the FUT. I'm like, if I knew that the FUT, because I did read that, that's more, invasive.
Oh, yeah.
Than FUE. And to be quite honest with you, when he had to take more, I wish he would have gave me the option of saying, look, you know what? I might do a little FUT for the stuff that I needed when I was sure.
FUE.
Because, or FUE, excuse me.
Well, here's the thing. In my view, we talk about the realities of and the limitations of hair transplant surgery and FUE only hair transplant surgery. However, a man of your advanced years, we're about the same age, who has basically a full head of hair, I don't think it's unreasonable to go in, especially if you didn't need a lot of hair, and just do full-on FUE on you. Because the idea of you progressing further, it could happen, but you could also die tomorrow. I mean, that's just the reality. So why not go in with the least invasive procedure possible in your particular case, because you maintained most of your hair throughout your adult life?
Exactly. And that's, but you get more bang for your buck, supposedly. You can cover more. And I think when he gave me the paperwork, because I asked for the paperwork about a year ago, and I'm like, why did I wait so long to ask for the paperwork? You get into this psychological thing, okay, and you guys probably understand this better than anybody, and that's why I called in, is like, you want to kind of keep it low-key, what you did to yourself, because it's only your business, and then you're like, well, I don't want, I never did anything cosmetic on myself, and I'm like, I'm a little embarrassed by it because I'm thinking, I'm a little vain. I shouldn't, why am I vain? And then I'm just like, well, I don't want to question nothing. I mean, I thought I did all my research. I felt good with it. I felt good with, with Feller. I thought Feller was actually still practicing because that was not, I was under the impression. They told me that he only does repairs. Well, guess what? He was full-blown retired when I went in there, and he talked to me mid procedure. Okay, so now, I'm asking, before, within 6 months, I'm asking, can I see Dr. Feller? And he's like, no, he's retired. I go, because I think maybe he needs to look at my scalp. Maybe somebody with his experience, can tell.
Let me ask you this. Did you have a consultation with another hair transplant surgeon after the fact? Have you since had any communication with anybody else in the field who might better understand what's happening?
I went to dermatologists and I went to plastic surgeons, okay? And I went to I was going to go see Bernstein and ask him, what was going on. Because Bloxham wasn't, he didn't give me anything. And I just sent him a few texts a few days ago. I said, I'm still having issues with my scalp, not feeling right. I mean, I take Tylenol every day practically, because of how it feels sometimes. And I'm thinking sometimes, well, maybe I stress out maybe more about it, and that might make it worse. I don't know. I mean, I feel the tightness, in my forehead, my eyes. It's just, I've never read anything like this, except when something doesn't go right. And then people can experience something like this, particularly with an FUT.
So let's fast forward a little bit, just at the sake of time. And I want to, and you could always call back to finish your story, or if you feel something was incomplete. Sure. But I do want to know, you started saying that for the first year you thought everything looked good. Oh. Has that changed?
I'm sorry. Yes, it did. All of a sudden, and I went up to see him, I guess it was about a year and a half, I noticed the area that he did started to get thin. Get really, really thin.
Really?
And let me stop you right there. What was there any hair in the area that you're talking about before you had the surgery, or was it bald?
No, it wasn't bald. It was just receded.
Okay.
I was never bald.
Okay.
I could send pictures of.
Okay, but when you say receded, was it receded in just clean skin, or was it thinning in the area that was receding? There's a big difference.
It was thinning in the area. It wasn't, you could.
And you maintained your finasteride use consistently.
Oh yeah, I'm still on finasteride. I'm still on it.
Okay.
1 milligram.
Any other areas of your scalp where your hair is thinned that wasn't worked on surgically?
The top is getting thinner. Okay. Where he did the lines are thinner. So
go ahead. I'm sorry. I missed something? So you said first you started with the top is thinner. Did he place any grafts in that area?
No.
Okay.
No.
Do you know whether or not your pharmacy switched out your finasteride to another generic?
It was that's what I've been taking, generic finasteride.
Right. Now, but the thing is, when you get generic finasteride, depending on your pharmacy, they essentially will go with the best the cheapest source, or the best bid they can get. So sometimes, it happens often, when you're on generic, that generic is switched out. Did you notice a change in your pill or anything like that? Color or?
No, I feel stupid to say this, but I guess I just thought it was all generic I've been taking generic medication, for the cost, of everything, cough medicines or whatever, or antibiotics, stuff like that, because brand is so expensive. And to be quite honest with you, it was actually very difficult to find, brand finasteride.
But I'm not saying that you need to take the actual brand Propecia. What I'm saying is there's several different brands making generics. There's companies that make generics. So there's like a company like Teva or Accord. They all make generic drugs.
I can tell you, all right, you know what? What I've been taking for probably a few years, I'll spell it for you. AUROBINDO.
Okay.
Rubibindo.
Okay, so essentially you're saying you're taking the exact same brand of generic, so that hasn't changed. That's the reason I asked, is because sometimes when that's switched out, you're going to lose ground.
Okay. No, I've been taking that, and like I said, for a year and a half, it looked good. I mean, it looked good. My scalp didn't feel good at all, but it did. And I was like, all right, well, I guess this is
Okay.
a price I got to pay. Maybe again.
Let me stop you right here. So I think it's important to understand, like, you know, what you're talking about now as far as your hair. The reason I was asking about your finasteride usage and if you're thinning anywhere else, it's because it's difficult to say why any of the transplanted hair or more specifically the areas that were transplanted, it's very difficult to nail down with any certainty why that might be happening. It could be grafts or shedding that were placed previously in surgery. It could be the native hair that was in that recipient area before surgery is continuing to thin, thus giving you the appearance of a thinning hair transplant. That's not uncommon. That's what I was at. I'm trying to establish the baseline here of where you are. But there's also this situation that a lot of patients go through where they think that their hair transplant is thinning because it is. And it's where we have what's called asynchronization of the growth of the individual hairs that were placed. Because if you look at your hair loss research, if you've done a deep dive on it, you know that there's 3 phases of growth. There's the anagen phase, the catagen phase, and the telogen phase. And when we transplant hair in one session, all of those hairs that are transplanted are in their various stages of anagen. Okay. And once they're transplanted, most of those are reset. And that's why that's what's happening when our hair sheds, that the transplanted hair sheds after a hair transplant. They're all reset. They all go back into, and when I say all, I'm generally speaking, they all go back into the telogen phase, and that's why it takes 3 to 5 months for the growth to start, because that's about how long it takes for telogen to be processed before the anagen kicks in again. Okay, so that first year, you have all this new hair coming in at the same time, but anecdotally speaking, we've seen over the past 20 years that those hairs can not necessarily will, but they can go back into their original growth cycle, where some of those will go into telogen earlier than others. And so, you know, let's say that the average of telogen hairs is 15%. That 1,000 graft transplant that someone might have, now it's only got, you know, roughly, and this is just, you know, for reference sake, 850 are growing, where another 150 are in telogen. They've shed, and you can't see them because they're not there. So that's why a lot of people online, when they're saying, "Oh God, my hair transplant's thinning, this doctor sucks," no, they just don't understand this desynchronization process that does occur after a hair transplant has already grown in. Now, with that said, everything you've been saying to me, and Spencer, I understand. I've seen it 1,000 times, and I've heard it 1,000 times, where the doctor wasn't this or the doctor wasn't that, as far as the bedside manner and the education, which, based on what you're telling me, I feel like you could have gotten a better education from the clinic, but that's neither here nor there. What I want to know more about is the tension in the donor area and the pain that you have in your recipient area. Here we are 2 years after surgery, 2.5 years after surgery, if I got it right. So is your donor area still tight? Does it still feel tight?
Yes. My whole scalp feels tight. Okay. The area where they did the incision. Okay. I mean, it jumps around. Yeah. You know, sometimes it won't be as tight, and then sometimes it will, you know, and then the front area where they put in, you know, where they jab the needle in, you know, that gets inflamed also, particularly to my right side, because he said he did more work on my right side. And for some reason, I can feel it in the front on the right side. The left side, he also did work, but I don't feel it in the front on the left as much. Now, on the sides of my head, do you have situations where in the recipient area, and we'll say on the right-hand side, do you have any areas that are almost, for lack of a better, looking like they have pimples, like deep pimples that are pushing up, maybe not coming to a head, but deep
pimples where you've got this inflamed area where it may be red or reddish and almost puffy, like it's like it's a dome of some sort. Do you ever experience that?
No, it's nothing that you can see.
Okay.
It's more under the skin. It's like inflammation under the skin, that I feel.
Well, yeah.
And
okay.
And the incision line, like I said, it's got bumps on it. When I put my finger and I go around it, I can still feel bumps. I picked a few off one time, and I was like, "What's this about?" And that area is thinner. Thinner, I guess, because they took out, I guess, like a half inch, all the way around 3/4 of my head. So I guess that will be thinner. My question, though,
well, it's not technically. It's not supposed to be, because if the donor area is closed up properly, there shouldn't be any sort of decrease of density above or below the incision line. You could have, this can happen in surgery in general, and that might be what's happened to you, where you have some permanent shock loss along that incision line. Because one reason why we get shock loss in the donor area after a strip surgery is when it is closed too tight, and when it's too tight, that's pressure. And when we have pressure in any given area on our skin, that pushes the blood flow away. And what does our hair need to grow? Blood flow. So you can have, some hairs that are hanging on, but not all of them. And so some fall out, and you got that thinning along that incision line, which is permanent shock loss.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It sounds to me, based on what you've told me, and I'm not a doctor, this is just based on me being some schmuck sitting in, hair transplant clinics, one of which trained his boss for over a decade. This is what I have seen from other clinics where patients have come to us, and the diagnosis from the doctors I work with was that the donor area was closed too tight to get whatever number of grafts were required. I'm not saying that's what happened in this case. I'm talking about generalities here, just to be clear.
Right.
And these are things that can be resolved with scalp laxity exercises that literally stretch your scalp out. It's difficult to do. It can be painful for your traps and your upper your neck muscles and things like this. But it can help to relieve that issue of feeling tight. Now, as far as the recipient area, some nerve damage on some patients that have similar symptoms that you're talking about. The blade that was being used, or the needle that was being used for the incisions, could have gone too deep. A whole host of things could have happened.
Right.
So, generally speaking, that's what can happen in situations where these symptoms manifest. As far as the reputation, as far as the reputation of this clinic, I have personal experience, not so much personal experience, but I do know. I have had interactions with his boss. I have been watching how he's been conducting himself. I do know patients that have been to this clinic. Contrary to what some in the chat room have been saying, I look at this practice as a trailer park practice. I just don't think. Yeah, it's a trailer park practice to me.
Yeah,
that's the way I look at it. I know he has happy patients, and God bless him. But from what I hear, like the way that you've been treated, just by not getting, in my opinion, proper attention for questions, being forced to drive just to talk to him instead of talking to him on the phone, I think that's it's pathetic, actually.
It's not right.
And I'm sorry to hear that. I really am.
Fair, but it's the God's honest truth. And now.
And I want to be clear. This is just based on your story. There's always two sides to every story. Okay, I want to make that clear. But this is just based on what you're telling me. If there's more to it that you're not telling me, maybe my opinion would change, but based on what you've said, that's the way I feel about it. And I'm sorry you had to go through it.
Is there any wood paneling in the office, by the way?
Oh, kind of like an old 50s doctor. No, I actually, it looked pretty professional.
Okay,
and,
good.
I just,
was there duct tape on the carpet holding cables down?
No.
And did Blake still have his high school diploma on the wall as well?
Well, it's funny. I thought he was older than what he was, and I realized he's like my daughter's age. And at the time, he would have been like 30, I guess. My daughter will be 40, and I'm like, wow. I go, why did I let? And then I'm thinking, like, why did I let somebody like the age of my daughter operate on me? Which is probably a stupid statement, but I was like,
well, I mean,
I think
he got out of DO's school like what? How many years ago? He's been a doctor for a long time.
Yeah,
about 10 years.
He's 40 now. Yeah, he's 40, but
12, maybe 12 years.
Okay, and like I said, he was trained. It seemed, look, I would watch their videos, and they would really promote FUT. It's the golden standard, and FUE. And I was like, and they sound, and I looked at Dr. Feller's, his references, and I know he came up with inventions, I believe, certain tools, that he's patented and stuff like that. So I thought, I was really in good hands here.
Just for everyone listening, that means absolute fuck all. That means nothing.
I love when that is part of the marketing, package for some of these guys. Now, I think it's cool that he, when and I hate to sound like an asshole, but when I introduced FUE to all these guys, I thought it was cool that he embraced it. And he had an idea, and he wanted to patent this tool, which it never really took off, but I thought it was a pretty good idea at the time. And it does show that he's inventive and he's creative, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't make somebody a great surgeon. Now, besides that, I still say, no matter what, Joe's never didn't say anything bad, but I still say that in general, and like you said, he did train with some doctors that Joe worked with. He trained prior to that, but he really learned a certain skill set with, I think it was Victor Andre, right, Joe? Or Victor.
Mainly Victor.
Yeah. It was Victor Hassan. He completely changed the way he presented his what was that?
Are you saying Dr. Fellow trained with this gentleman, and then Dr. Fellow trained Dr. Bloxham? That's what you're saying, I guess,
yeah.
Right?
So, I mean, Feller was originally trained in old school, mini micrographs. When he applied to the IHS originally, I'll tell you in brief, and then we got to go. But in brief, he had a hair transplant by the late, great Dr. David Seeger up in Canada. Seeger,
he had one.
Yeah. Seeger applied, he had a repair surgery. Seeger, if I can remember correctly, Seeger applied to my organization back in the day at the very beginning. And we want references of physicians that these applicants perform surgery on. So he gave Feller as a reference. I called up Feller. We had a long conversation, and Feller's like, "So what is this? I'm trying to figure out what is the IHRS and how does it work?" And I explained it. And at the time, we were essentially just separating the guys who were doing pure follicular unit transplantation from all the rest. It was pretty easy to separate because there were only a handful of guys that were creating these natural results using stereoscopic microscopes and planting, full follicular units, intact follicular units. And Feller tells me, well, I mean, he goes, that's all marketing. You don't need a microscope to do this surgery. And I said, well, okay. Well, I mean, right now that's our criteria. And you're going to need to change the infrastructure of your practice, just like, other practices. And that's it, because he wanted to, learn more about it. A few months later, he calls me, and he also called a radio show, I think, if I remember correctly, so long ago, and says, you know what, I am one of the converted now. You're absolutely right. Microscopes make a big difference. So what I admired about Feller is that he saw the trends. He understood that he would really have to change his ways in order to keep up with everybody else. And then once he started to see, what Joe was putting online for Victor Hassan as far as the way he was presenting cases, Feller was all in. He's like, I gotta figure this out. And he went over to train with Victor. So to me, that shows tremendous humility. Most doctors won't do that.
I will clarify. He didn't. Hang on, caller. So I do need to clarify. He didn't actually fly out and have like a big training session with Dr. Hassan. He came in and he sat in on surgeries, I think twice.
Yeah, that's all.
One day each.
Yeah.
And he told me directly that he learned a lot of what he did based on the photos I was posting immediate post-op from Victor's surgeries. That was his training. So I just want to make that clear.
But I think that takes a lot of humility. I can't pronounce that. And it's like, he's like, yeah, you know what? I could do better. And he did. So I've always admired him for that. I really have. So if he's listening to the show,
100%.
I call a spade a spade. I always admired him for that. And I know that he did his best to train his associate. But
yeah, I'm sure he did.
Things definitely, wires can get crossed. There's personalities involved. People make mistakes, and they don't want to admit to it. There's a lot of things that happen in life.
Well, and I just think that I wish he would have, like I said, when I made the plea of like, this is just too tight. This ain't natural. And I just wish he would have said, definitely come on in, and we got to straighten something out here, or I got to look at this better, and tell me exactly.
Well, I'm going to also be candid that the status quo in that practice, from what I remember, is do not be phased, potentially deny any potential wrongdoing, or maybe there was no wrongdoing, but just don't accept what the patient is saying. And there have been times when Dr. Feller himself has been pretty aggressive online towards patients, and there's rumors of him being litigious and stuff like that. So, if Blake was trained in that environment, then he has his hackles up as well. Do you know what I'm saying?
And Now, this I have to say though, I know I can't keep it much longer, but I reached out to to talk to him at Texan, of course, and I said, look, I still have this issue, of the tightness of the scalp. I go, and I'm losing more hair that I think that should have been that you put in, and he goes, look, I told you, when you came in, and we seen, after I guess it was 2 years. He goes, I seen where it was thin, and he goes, I'll gladly, I'll just charge you for the technicians, work, because I have to pay them, but I won't charge you for anything of your time. And I'm going like, well, look, I said, could we do this? I said, if I found somebody that I feel more comfortable with doing FUE to fix this, could you just give me a credit? And he goes, well, I don't do it that way. And I said, well, because one of the doctors that I was interested in to take a look at my scalp, you might know him as Dr. William Lindley down in Washington.
Lindsay. Yeah, they're all connected.
Yeah. Lindsay.
Yeah.
Right. And I noticed on his site, he's affiliated somehow with Feller and
Feller's a sharp business guy. He's got a very unique business acumen for a physician.
Right.
Yeah.
So
the clinic, I could be wrong, but I think Lindsay's clinic is actually Feller's clinic, and Lindsay works there either as an employee or as a partner of some sort.
I got to tell you,
I don't know the details.
When Feller made that deal, he definitely went out for a couple of drinks that night.
Well, all I know is Bloxham told me, he goes, you know what? He goes, that was before I came on board. I don't, I can't transfer anything, any compensation or any kind of, payment to him if you wanted him. Because the idea of what I liked about him, is that, he studied, I think he board certified plastic surgeon, where Dr. Bloxham, I don't believe is. And I thought, well, maybe that's probably what I should have went with, is somebody who was also, maybe board certified plastic surgeon on top of doing this, because they would know the nerves of the head better, perhaps. I mean, I'm no doctor. I'm just thinking like layman's terms. But so he goes, look, I can, just the last conversation, he goes, I can throw some hair back on your head. He goes, if I do FUE, he goes, that might loosen up the back. He goes, because I'm be taking out, it through FUE, and it might loosen up the scalp a little bit, and it might make it more comfortable. And I'm going, I at this point, I don't know
that's
what
a new one.
believe. Well, that's what he said. He goes, this is, and like I said, I have it all in text form. I've never
heard a scalp being loosened up by having an FUE procedure. If anything, the way scar tissue forms, I would imagine it would make it tighter, because when scar tissue forms, it actually contracts and pulls the skin around it 360, almost like it's a black hole. It like pulls it down into the center of that scar tissue from all sides.
And has to fill it.
And so if you're having like 500 of those, you got 500 little punctate wounds that are now healing and then pulling in the surrounding tissue, contracting into a tight little scar.
They don't dilate. They do the opposite.
Yeah. See, I guess I was either I heard it wrong, or he explained it wrong, or he doesn't know what he's.
Well, I don't think he'd tell you it would make it tighter.
No, because
so you didn't hear it wrong, most likely.
Yeah.
So at the end here, so what's the ask here? You want to ideas on how to relieve the tension?
Yeah, I would initially, my main objective is if my scalp can feel better. Like I said, It does feel better from the first month, but it doesn't feel nowhere normal. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to interrupt right here, just so you know, it's really possible for it to take years for those nerve endings to completely remodel and for you to feel normal. Yeah. And that goes for that goes for a facelift or any type of cosmetic surgery, period.
Right.
So
or hair transplant from any doctor. So
right. It's not. That is sadly, like, I've known people who have had other procedures done, like on their face, and 5 years out, they still feel like they have pins and needles, but it's improving. So,
or like a little numbness, like an area, I've heard that.
Being an older person, it could take a long time before you heal completely. So to go back in there to, sever new wounds, sever skin again to cause any potential damage. I mean, sometimes that actually does the trick. And then the healing process happens more rapidly in that particular area, and those nerve endings feel better. I think that happened to Joe. And then you just get your feeling back. That's a possibility. Mm-hmm. But given that I actually had
I actually had a similar situation after my second surgery in 1992, where the entire back of my scalp was numb for 9 years. It wasn't getting better, and it was because I had two donor scars, one above the other, in the occipital region in the back of my scalp, because I had two strips, and the doctor, this was not uncommon back in the 90s, where a doctor would take multiple strips from different places, not from the same place as the previous strip, which is what better clinics do now or did. Okay. So the problem was one of the two surgeries created a situation where the nerve endings could not reconnect because there's too much scar tissue. There were two strip scars in between the severed nerves, and they just couldn't reconnect. And it was 9 years later that Dr. Wong did where's my gong? Gong. Where Dr. Wong did my first repair surgery, and he combined both of those scars into one scar. That's how good the laxity was in my donor scalp. And my nerve endings reconnected, and as early as I'm going to guess, maybe 4 months after my surgery, I started to get feeling in my scalp again. And it was amazing. And every surgery I had since then, every subsequent strip surgery, because of Dr. Wong's skill, I was able to get full feeling back from before I had that surgery. And so right now, like I'm just feeling the back of my scalp. I've always assumed that I don't have 100% feeling back because I don't remember what it was like to have 100% feeling, but nothing feels numb in my donor scalp now after seven strips.
Wow, you had 7 strips done. Wow.
Yeah.
Now,
maybe
do
8.
you still have tightness? Do you have tightness?
No.
Because
No.
Okay, because that's probably one of the biggest things is I still have tightness. You know, I mean, besides throbbing, besides the the discomfort of when I'm sleeping, on it, and like I said, it just like almost jump around. It's like it's.
I'm sorry to hear that. I really am.
Listen, brother, we're going to call it a night. I appreciate you sharing your experience. I'm sorry that you've been through this, but as we're describing, some of it's normal, and I'm not saying that the experience was all that normal, because obviously you were unhappy with the experience, but
I was,
and some of it's just bad luck, and
I have to say that too, but I also think that I don't think he's owning up to as much as he could be.
I would say based on my experience for the last 30 years, your assessment could be right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, guys, I do appreciate it. Here's the kicker, though. I guess the vanity in me, I still, if my hair would have stayed thick, you're going to think I'm crazy after this statement. But if my hair would have stayed thick and not fallen out, and it didn't look like worse than what it did, that's what it looks actually worse. And I understand, you still lose hair because it's like an endless, process. You always got to keep on filling in where you're losing, But I think sometimes I could probably put up with the discomfort if my hair would have been,
I think that's a common theme. It's kind of like being married.
That weird? Isn't that a weird thought? Like, I could put up with the discomfort of my hair, but being that my hair is not that good anymore and it looks worse than when I went there, and then on top of this feeling, I'm like, damn, I lost both ways.
I'm sorry to hear that. Listen, you have options probably, but do not jump into anything quickly. And
no,
I don't know if I would go back to the same doctor to get any work done again at this point.
No, actually, like I said, that's why I asked him. I said, could you, switch, that compensation, that you said, his time. I said, you could very easily, do a, FUE, and the money you made off that, you could send that to, a doctor or me, if this is what you were going to do. This is what he says. He just said this. But I guess once it's money in the bank, he ain't going to.
Well, that's the way that it is, man, unfortunately. But Joe's getting hangry. Yeah. I see it. I sense it. I feel it. It's making me very uncomfortable.
Okay. All right. Well, look, I thank you guys for listening to my, to my.
Listen,
we're happy to. And
call back.
Don't be a stranger. Sure. Call back.
Yeah. All right.
All right,
Joe,
brother.
like I said, if you could, like I said, I left my name and my number on Instagram. If you got a minute to, sometime.
You did hear that Joe's charging an arm and a leg now for this service, right?
Exactly. He's not joking. I don't do this for free now. So, but what you can send me your pictures. I'll have a look at your pictures. I'm not going to call you, but I'll have a look at the pictures and give you my thoughts on it, and we'll go from there. Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
All right, brother. Good luck. Take care.
All right, buddy.
Thank you very much, guys.
Bye-bye.
Guys who are holding on, we got to go. Sorry you were holding on for so long. There's a couple of calls on the line, but we will take your calls next time. Or you can check me out on Instagram. I'll probably go live maybe Monday. Not tomorrow. I'm going to get drunk tomorrow, I've decided, I think, if not tonight. But
don't call me.
Yeah, I plan it out now. As I'm getting older, I'm like, okay, It's been a few months since I really got loaded. I'm going to get loaded and maybe have some chocolate banana pie.
Ooh, I like that.
Why not?
I'm probably going to have barbecue tonight. Anyway.
All right. All right, guys, listen, I want to thank you guys for tuning in and hanging out. And I just want to say that, sadly, there's not a doctor out there in this industry, good, bad, or, just terrible, that doesn't have at least a couple of patients who think they screwed up their lives. That's just the nature of this game. That's the nature of cosmetic surgery.
Yep.
But the trailer park comment was kind of funny, by the way.
Trailer park practice.
I didn't say
Just
that.
my opinion. Just my opinion.
I have to admit that I've only heard pretty good things from Bloxham, and for the most part, I still have to say it, even though he's been an interesting cat, and we had a very interesting relationship. I felt he evolved into a very good hair transplant surgeon, and he did a lot of good for a lot of people. So that's just the way that it is.
And then he got way too cocky for his station, in my view. He got way too cocky. That's just me.
I'm trying to be nice here, Joe.
Yeah, I know, and that's fine. Good cop, bad cop, whatever.
He did some. I would say he said and did some pretty shitty things to me over the years. But that's the nature of this game. People never fully understood what I did, and they wanted to be associated with me for a while, especially when they thought that we were the juggernauts in this game. But they were also willing to be to get involved with alleged extortion rings and all kinds of stuff that they were willing to support, which I always found very fascinating. But hey, you get leads, right? Anyway, guys, we're going to go.
Get leads, right?
Yeah. You know what? Who cares if the guy's a pornographer? I get leads.
I get leads. Who cares if he's a drug addict?
Yeah.
I get leads.
I get leads. Whatever.
Anyway.
All right, guys, until next time.
All right,
That's
we're
the
outta
beauty
here.
of this industry. Until next time, be strong. God bless. And thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the programme, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you.